My entire family accused me of stealing my grandmother's engagement ring during Thanksgiving dinner. 3 days later, I discovered the real thief hadn't acted alone, and the person who helped frame me was someone I had trusted my entire life. I still remember the exact sound my grandmother made when she opened her jewelry box. It wasn't a scream. It was worse. It was this small broken gasp, like someone had knocked the air out of her lungs. For a few seconds, nobody moved. Then my Aunt Diane said, "Where's Natalie?" That was the first thing anyone said. Not, "What happened?" Not, "Are you okay?" Just my name. I was in the kitchen rinsing plates. When I walked back into the dining room, every face turned toward me. My grandmother was standing near the hallway with one hand over her mouth. My cousin Ashley was beside her, crying into a napkin. My Aunt Diane had her arm around Ashley like Ashley was the victim. My Uncle Mark looked angry. My mother looked confused, and my grandmother's jewelry box was open on the side table. I asked what happened. Grandma whispered, "My ring is gone." Her engagement ring. The one my grandfather bought her in 1969. The one she only wore on holidays because she was afraid of losing it. The one she always said would stay in the family. I said, "What do you mean gone?" Aunt Diane looked straight at me. "You were upstairs earlier." That sentence changed the whole room. Because I had been upstairs, I went to use the bathroom after dinner. Everyone knew it. I said, "So?" Ashley sniffled and said, "I saw you come down really fast." I stared at her. That wasn't true. I had come downstairs normally. But the way she said it made everyone listen, like she was scared to accuse me, but brave enough to tell the truth. My Uncle Mark stood up. "Natalie, just empty your purse." I laughed because I honestly thought he was joking. He wasn't. I looked at my mom. She said, "Maybe just show them so we can move on." That hurt more than my uncle, because my own mother didn't say, "My daughter wouldn't do that." She said, "Show them." So I did. I dumped my purse onto the dining table. Wallet, keys, lip balm, hand sanitizer, nothing else. Aunt Diane didn't look satisfied. She looked annoyed. Then she said, "What about your coat?" I said, "Are you serious?" Grandma was crying now, not loudly, just silently with tears running down her face. And because I loved her, I checked my coat too. Nothing. Then Ashley said, "What about the scarf?" I turned slowly. "What scarf?" She pointed toward the hallway. On the floor near the stairs was my gray scarf. I hadn't put it there. I had left it on the back of my chair. Aunt Diane picked it up like it was evidence from a crime scene. "Well," she said, "this is strange." That was the moment I realized something was wrong, not just mistaken. "Wrong," I said. "Someone moved that." Ashley started crying harder. "Why would anyone do that?" I looked at her. For the first time, I noticed she wouldn't meet my eyes. Then someone mentioned that Uncle Mark had gone upstairs after dinner too. For a few minutes, the attention shifted. Mark got defensive. "I went upstairs to take a phone call," he said. Aunt Diane immediately jumped in. "Mark wouldn't steal from his own mother." I almost laughed. Apparently, everyone in the family deserved the benefit of the doubt. Everyone except me. Grandma looked between us, confused and heartbroken. Then she said something that broke me. "Natalie, if you needed money, you could have asked." The room went silent. I felt my face go hot. I said, "You think I stole from you?" Grandma didn't answer. She just cried. My mother touched my arm and whispered, "Don't make this worse." I pulled away from her. "I'm not the one making this worse." Then Aunt Diane said, "Nobody is accusing you." That was almost funny. Because everyone was. I left 5 minutes later. Nobody stopped me. Not my mother, not Grandma. Nobody. On the drive home, my hands were shaking so badly I had to pull over twice. By midnight, the family group chat was full of messages. Uncle Mark wrote, "The ring needs to be returned. No questions asked." Aunt Diane wrote, "We all make mistakes." And then Ashley wrote, "I just hope Grandma gets peace." I stared at that message for a long time. There was something about it. Too clean, too rehearsed, like she wasn't upset the ring was gone. She was relieved the blame had landed somewhere. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls. Most were from relatives. One was from my mom. Her voicemail said, "Natalie, just call me. Your aunt is saying maybe we should involve the police." That made me sit up. Police. They were willing to let me be questioned over something I didn't do. I called my mom back. The first thing she said was, "Did you take it?" "No, hello." "No. Are you okay?" "Just that." I said, "I can't believe you asked me that." She started crying. "Then help me understand why your scarf was there," I said. "Because someone put it there, da." "Who would do that?" I almost said Ashley, but I didn't have proof. And in my family, accusing the golden child without proof was social suicide. Ashley was Aunt Diana's only daughter. Pretty fragile, always going through something. When Ashley crashed her car at 22, it was stress. When she dropped out of nursing school, it was anxiety. When she borrowed money and didn't pay it back, it was because people pressured her. Meanwhile, I was dependable, which in my family meant disposable. I hung up and decided I needed facts. Grandma's house had a Ring doorbell. I texted her, "Can you send me the doorbell footage from yesterday?" She didn't respond. 10 minutes later, Aunt Diane called. I didn't answer. She texted instead, "Why do you need footage if you didn't do anything?" That told me everything. I drove to Grandma's house that afternoon. She answered the door but barely opened it. She looked smaller than usual. I said, "Grandma, I need the footage." Ah, she said, "Diane said it won't show anything inside." I know, but it might show who left and when. Her face changed slightly. Then she said, "Ashley left early." I said, "I thought Ashley stayed until I left." Grandma looked confused. "No, she left for a little bit after dessert. Diane said she needed air." That was new. Nobody mentioned Ashley leaving, not once. I asked Grandma to show me the footage. She hesitated. Then she let me in. We sat at her kitchen table and opened the app. At 6:42 p.m., Ashley walked out of the house. She was holding something under her coat. The camera angle wasn't perfect. You couldn't see what it was, but you could see her looking over her shoulder before getting into her car. At 7:18 p.m., she came back, empty-handed. Grandma stared at the screen. "That doesn't mean anything," she whispered. But she didn't sound convinced. I asked if she had checked the jewelry box before or after Ashley left. She said after. Then her eyes filled with tears again. I felt bad for her, but I also felt angry, because she had looked at me like a thief before asking a single question. I sent the video clip to myself. Then I did something I'm not proud of. I checked Ashley's public Instagram. There was nothing unusual at first. Thanksgiving selfie, pumpkin pie, a fake inspirational quote. Then I noticed a story from 2 days earlier. Ashley in her car saying, "Manifesting debt-free December." Debt-free. That word stuck in my head. I remembered my cousin Tyler once mentioning Ashley owed money to someone. Not a bank, not a credit card. Someone. I called Tyler. At first he didn't want to talk. Then I said, "If you know something and I get police involved, you're going to feel terrible." He sighed. "She owes around 8 grand. To who? I don't know. Spetting, maybe she got into some online gambling thing." There it was, a motive, but still not proof. For a few hours, I wondered if I was wrong. Maybe Ashley had left for some other reason. Maybe she had hidden something embarrassing, not stolen jewelry. Maybe I was so hurt that I was looking for someone to blame. Then the proof came 2 days later. From the dumbest possible mistake, I got an email from a pawn shop. At first I thought it was spam. Subject line, transaction copy request. I opened it and saw my grandmother's name, then Ashley's, then a description. Vintage diamond engagement ring, yellow gold band. My whole body went cold. The email had been sent to an old shared family account my cousins and I used years ago for a reunion slideshow. Ashley must have typed the wrong saved email at the pawn shop. Attached was a receipt, dated Thanksgiving, time 7:02 p.m., right in the middle of when she had needed air. Amount paid 3,800s. Customer name Ashley Reynolds. I sat there staring at it. Then I started shaking, not from fear, from rage. I sent the receipt to my mom. No caption, just the receipt. She called me immediately. "Oh my God," that was all she said. Then I sent it to Grandma, then to the family group chat. For 5 minutes, nobody wrote anything. Then Uncle Mark wrote, "Ashley." Ashley didn't respond. Aunt Diane did. "This is private. Delete this now." "Not. That's fake. Not. There must be a mistake. Delete this now." I replied, "You knew." She called me within seconds. I answered and put her on speaker. She didn't know my mother was with me on another line. Diane said, "You have no idea what Ashley has been dealing with." I said, "So you framed me." "We didn't frame you. You planted my scarf." Silence. Then Diane said, "It was supposed to buy time." My mom gasped. Diane stopped talking. I said, "Mom heard that." Diane hung up. That was the final twist. Ashley stole the ring, but Aunt Diane helped point the family at me. Not because she hated me, because protecting Ashley was easier than letting her face consequences. The police did get involved after that, not because I called them. Grandma did. That surprised everyone, especially Diane. Grandma got the ring back, but it cost more than Ashley had been paid because the pawn shop had already processed it for resale. Diane paid the difference. Ashley cried at every family conversation afterward. She said she was scared. She said she panicked. She said she never meant for me to get blamed permanently. That word stuck with me. Permanently, like temporary blame was acceptable, like destroying my reputation for a few days was just a family inconvenience. A week after everything came out, Grandma asked me to come over. I almost didn't. But I went. She had the ring on the table between us. She said, "I owe you an apology." I waited, she said. "I should have believed you." I said, "Yes, you should have." She cried. I didn't comfort her. That might sound cold, but I had spent my whole life comforting people who hurt me because they felt bad afterward. I was done doing that. Then Grandma told me something I wasn't expecting. This wasn't the first time something had gone missing around Ashley. Years earlier, cash disappeared from a birthday card. Then a bracelet went missing during a family reunion. Then one of my uncle's watches vanished during a cookout. Every time, there wasn't enough proof. Every time, Diane said Ashley was struggling. Every time someone else got blamed, I stared at Grandma. You knew. She looked down at the ring. I suspected. That was worse. Because suspicion had been enough for her to doubt me, but never enough for her to question Ashley. Then she pushed the ring toward me. I want you to have it someday. I looked at it. For years, that ring had felt like family history. Now it felt like evidence. I said, I don't want it. She looked heartbroken. But I meant it. I didn't want a symbol of a family that could turn on me that quickly. Thanksgiving came again this year. I didn't go. My mom asked if I was really going to hold on to this forever. I told her, I'm not holding on to it. I'm learning from it, but Ashley is supposedly in therapy now. Diane still says I humiliated her daughter. Uncle Mark apologized with a text that sounded like it was written by a lawyer. Grandma and I talk sometimes, but it's different. Everything is different. Because once people show you how quickly they can believe the worst about you, you can't unsee it. The ring is back in Grandma's jewelry box. The scarf is in a donation bin somewhere. And me, I stopped going where my innocence depends on everyone else's mood. That family didn't lose me because of a stolen ring. They lost me because when the ring disappeared, they all decided I was the easiest person to blame. The ring wasn't the most valuable thing I lost that Thanksgiving. I lost my trust in the people who were supposed to know me best. And once that disappears, there's no pawn shop in the world that can buy it back.